For this tutorial, I've got a task for us to have a look at, and we'll work through it here. And the task is to allow input of a sentence, right, but with the following restrictions, as you can see here. The sentence will be entered into the text box that we already have here, and you can see I've just rearranged our screen a little bit. The sentence, though, should only allow for lowercase letters and spaces to be entered, and there should only be one space between words. Also, in real time, I want you to convert each of the first character in each word into the uppercase version of that character. So we'll just move that out of the way, and we're going to do it based on input from this text box. So if we double click on the text box to get an event created, you can see by default the event that gets created is the text input box's text changed event. So to see that working, I could say RTB output dot text is equal to basically whatever's in txt, right? Input dot text. So the output window will just be a copy of what's in the input window. So if I start to type there, you can see that it's just been copied to the output window. But what we want to be able to do something different. We need to look at each character individually, and it could do it by taking a substring of what's been entered, but there is other events that trigger from a text box. So if we have a look at those, making sure the text box is selected, we go over to the properties window, but change. So we're looking at the events. You can see we have the text changed event there. But I'm looking for one called key down. Actually, key press. Key down triggers when you press the key down, key up whenever you let it go, but the key press event is whenever both occur. So you see I've got the key press event here now. Right, and I'm going to get rid of the text changed event. So if I delete that, right, you might remember that the generated code, oh, pardon me, the generated code will now have an error. So we go over to the Forms Designer, and we'll just delete, right, the code that generated the change event. So back into my key press event, I'm going to have a look at, we've used object sender in various ways before, but I want to have a look at this key press event args e. So we have a variable called e. So let's display the variable, some information from the variable called e into our rich text box. So again, I'll say RTB output dot text is equal to e dot, and we've got a few options here. So there's an interesting look one, key car. So I'll just display a key car and see what it gives. Okay, not a lot when we look at it like that. So we'll convert it to a string. So you can see it's doing what it did before, but it's obviously just replacing what's already in there. So we'll do a plus equals. So I want to check to see what a valid character is, right? And a valid character is going to be just the lowercase letters A to Z, and you might remember the ASCII value for those. If you don't, you can look it up. The lowercase letter A is 97. And the lowercase z is 122. So our range is pardon me, 97 to 122. So it would be a good idea at this stage here just to record what the value of that key car is. Alright, and just so we can see what the value of the key car is, let's actually just print it out as a piece of text. Sorry, as an integer. So this time I'm going to print out, what I'll do, I'll create a variable, I'll use a variable for it. So I'll create an integer and I'll call it char value. Right, and I will set it equal to, and I'll do a convert that to int32, or whatever's in e dot keychar. So instead of printing out keychar, I'll print out whatever's in our new variable, which is char underscore value. So if we run that now, if I put in an A, I'm expecting to see 97. If I put in a Z, 122. And to remind yourself what a space is, put on a space, you can see it's 32. So that's the only characters we should allow. So what we can do is say an if statement. I'll say if, and I want to say if char underscore value. Right. So I want it to be greater than or equal to 97. So it must be greater than or equal to 97. And char value must also be less than or equal to 122. So there's a range that has to be in between 97 and 122. So we haven't done the space yet. So if I test that now, the only input that should be allowed up here will be lowercase characters. So if I type in Mary, now I'm actually typing directly into that. Mary, you can see I'm getting the ASCII characters there. And if I type in, let's say, a few spaces, you can see the spaces in the text box, but they're not coming out in the rich text box. If I type numbers, they're coming out in the text box, but again, not the rich text box. So that part is working, but what I also should do is now change this here back, so I'm printing out eChar. I'm using the numeric value of eChar, right, for the test. But what I want to see in the output is the actual letter. So like Mary, a couple of spaces, a couple of numbers. See, they're not coming out. Had, then starts coming out. So far so good. So we'll just add to that by including the space character. So we'll keep that as a test on its own. So we need to put its own brackets around it. So it has to be between 97 and 122 or equal to 32. Alright, what has to be equal to 32? Char value. So now if we run that, right, we should get our spaces. So if I did Mary space had, you can see we're getting that okay. A space some dodgy characters. Little, you can see it's cut out. It's only displaying up here what is valid. Now at the minute if we keep typing and put in a few spaces and then some word, you see it is allowing the spaces, so I need to limit the spaces to 1, right, and then also do the uppercase conversion. So we'll come back and we'll do that on the second video in this series. So see you soon.